Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's Amon-Rellik the God Slayer. I'm really gaming. We're doing another beginner tutorial. Today we're going to peek into the specializations. And this one we're going to actually go into my main character. Woo! Hold up. Alright.
Safe area detected.
So, as you can see, things have changed in DC a little bit. Now, when you clear the map on DC, once you cleared the map of all the different main missions and you've done the three, cause you see how my map is like just covered in shit. Yeah, it's like now once you completed the main missions and you've gotten the strongholds done, right? Once you've done all of those and gotten those out of the way, a new faction is gonna pop up. A new faction of enemies is gonna pop up, and they are going to basically take over the map. At that point in time, once you hit 30, you're going to be given the ability to come over here to this side, and you're going to be able to do specializations. We're going to go to my main one. The sharpshooter.
That's a powerful weapon you got yourself.
Work, it never ends.
Alright, so once you decide to choose between which specialization you want, you'll be given a few initial ones. I believe you'll get the first three, I think will be your if I remember correctly, I think it's these right here, these four. It'll be the firewall, gunner, technician, demolitionist, I believe. Well, I think it's these three, and then you'll get these three. I think once you I think it's for the warlords in New York. We'll give you these three: demolitionist, survivalist, and the sharpshooter, I believe. And again, whenever you can just change these whenever you want. So let's say you want to go ahead and do a different one. You can just decide, okay, I want to do firewall.
You could become a pitmaster with this one. Yeah, I'm having some good barbecue.
And now, you're in firewall. But we're gonna take my main specialization as a as the template for today.
Looking to drop targets at a distance, I see. Good luck.
All right, so you can come in here and you can take a look at the actual inner workings of the specialization. And the way you will be getting specialization points, you'll be getting them based on your let's say available points. You get these points through basically through like technically like leveling using the specialization itself. But you'll be giving them mainly through like your big main missions, like I'll show you like I don't think I can do it with this class because I think I maxed this class out. Alright, let's go. Let's try to pick another one so we can kind of see here. We'll pick the survivalist.
There's nothing like a crossbow with explosive bolts to give you bang for your buck.
Alright. So like when you go in here and you go to a main mission, you see where it says rewards at? Now it says 5 survivalist points. So you'll start getting those points by doing the main missions. You'll also get them just by leveling while you're having the class on, I believe, as well. And again, these main missions, like if you notice on my screen, my thing just says hard now. And now you're just seeing like loot allocations. Like you're seeing, you see where it's showing you like, let me see if I can get further. How it's showing me like wyvern, tip of the spear. It's showing like body, like assault rifle, hot shot. Those are the gear sets. Now, again, gear sets, like for instance, this one that I'm wearing, Future Initiative. You see how it's saying if I wear 2 pieces, I'll get repair skill. 3 pieces, I'll get skill haste and skill duration. But if I wear 4 pieces, I'll get a special ability known as ground control. See that? My sniper build, which is my main build, is aces and eights. That gives me 15% marksman rifle damage at 2 pieces. At 3 pieces, I get a 30% headshot damage increase. And at 4 pieces, I get dead man's hand. Flip a card when landing shots with the marksman rifle. After 5 cards are flipped, the damage of your next shot is amplified by 30%. More shots are enhanced, the better the hand revealed. 4 of a kind, I get 3 shots that are enhanced. 4 shots that are enhanced. Full house, I get 3 shots that are enhanced. Aces and eights, I get 2 shots that are enhanced. And I can flip an additional card on headshots. Now, it's literally gonna show like where you would see my where you would see my bullets and like my armor and health on the screen. It'll show 5 cards that'll be face down, and every time I get a headshot, one of those cards will flip and it'll show me a different card on like a poker deck. So it's cool how like, you know, some of these can be very it'll literally change the way you play. You know, it'll change the way you play fundamentally from just being a cover shooter to now it's gonna be cover shooter with extra mechanics on top of it. You know, for instance, Firewall, it's basically all about spreading fire again. You know, like you just saw the blowtorch. It's got ways of spreading fire, and there's builds that you can use with it to be able to like spread fire to like a bunch of enemies all at once. Gunner, of course, has it's more based on like gunning tech, like your drones and turrets, stuff like that. Technician is just all around being better with the gadgets. Demolitionist is all explosive, so like artillery turrets, grenade launchers, things like that. Of course, survivalist is like the crossbow, and it's got some kind of some healing as well. Like if I believe in the survivalist, and you can check it over here. If you go to the class that you're on, it should show you the class that you're on at the moment. I believe it's this one right here. As you can see, and you can kind of tell which specialization. You can kind of tell which gadget the specialization basically specializes in by looking at the tech tree to the right. Because you see, this one here is all about seeker mines. So you know the survivalist is all about seeker mines. Firewall, if we go into it,
Hope you like it hot. More of these.
it's all about the shield. The striker shield. And using different mods for the shield. Because you can actually put your shield up and blow torch through the shield and stuff like that. But it's got also ways of spreading fire and amplifying fire damage, things of that nature. Now if you want to go into something like Gunner, theirs is the Pulse. I believe theirs is the Pulse. That's their special gadget. Technician is the Hive. This is the reason why I said in the previous video, if you were going to be a healer, you would more than likely choose Technician because you would specialize in the Hive, and again, increase the recovery rate of the Hive skill, increase the radius of the Hive skill. You would want to do those, you would want to have those as a part of your healing kit. Demolitionist, it would be your artillery turret. And of course, survivalist will be the seeker mine, and of course, for the sharpshooter, for us, it is the drone.
We're having a little crisis in crisis management, aren't we?
And again, there's multiple ways to find this. If you notice again, like you see how this gear is green, and you see how it says gear set. It doesn't say worn. It doesn't say specialized, or it doesn't, or high end. It says gear set. Gear set is basically, it's the best gear you can get in the game, and you can have up to 4 pieces.
Agent requesting backup.
And usually the way it goes is like, for instance, if you notice, I'm not wearing the backpacks that goes with this set because I only need to make sure I'm wearing 4 of the set to get the complete the complete set of bonuses, right? I just need to make sure I'm wearing 4 of the pieces. So the other 2 pieces will be basically min-maxed on what I'm looking for the build itself. So that's like, for instance, if I want, like, the backpack I'm wearing right now gives me kills from cover, reduce my skill cooldowns. I'm on a skill build right now with the future initiative build, because it's for basically my healing and stuff like that. So that's going to help me get my skill stuff back. And as you can see, I've got all of my different attributes pretty high in terms of repair skills, and of course status effects and things of that nature. And of course the BTSU gloves, which are exotic gloves. I got on that transference overclock, grants my hive skill haste per skill tier. 15% hive skills haste per skill tier. Detonating a hive refreshes the skill my other skill cooldowns and grants overcharge for 15 seconds. If at skill tier 6, this effect also applies to all allies. Allies receiving this effect are unable to benefit from it again for 120 seconds. So I can basically overcharge other allies by igniting and blowing up my my hive. So let's say my allies got their tech out. I can overcharge their tech by blowing my hive up. So not only am I helping them heal-wise, but I'm also helping them for their skills as well. And again, all I need is 4 pieces to make that work, you know. And of course, we've got you know, you got mods and things of that nature. Like for instance, on this gun here, I'm modded up. I got, you know, and again, these mods truly do make a difference because look at the stability on this gun, really nice, decent accuracy as well. And I have White Death, which is one of the harder marksman rifles to get my hand on. But I've also got Diamondback as one of my favorite workman rifles as well. And this is an exotic weapon that's pretty cool. It works pretty cool where it randomly marks an enemy, and if I hit that enemy, I get guaranteed crits with amplified damage by 20%. And then I get a guaranteed 5 seconds of critical hits if I hit them. So like if I can kill a single target with that's marked, I can then really start popping off and taking down other targets. Like I can start really dropping them, especially considering that rifles already have a pretty high damage rate. Like if you look at that damage, that's pretty good for a rifle. 471,000 damage. It's pretty good, you know. Diamondback is one of the few exotics that has like a full-on quest that you can do. It is, where's it at? It is called, I don't think it's available right now. Oh, there it is. Kinley College. You have to do all 3 of these missions. There's 3 missions that allows you to complete the entirety of Kinley College. This mission is pretty difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Trying to solo Kinley College, unless you just got like an overpowered build that you've been working on for months or whatever, if you try to go in here at the normal level in which you would and try to solo this is rough. Kinley College is rough trying to solo. Now, mind you, when you finally get it though, when you finally beat it, you guaranteed get the Diamondback. You'll get the Diamondback as a guaranteed reward. And again, it's probably the coolest looking out of all of the, because like I've got some other exotics. Like the capacitor, it looks alright. Chameleon looks okay. It's kind of space agey. You know, backfire looks pretty good. It's got that, you know, that barbed wires look pretty good. And Lady Death side looking for a submachine gun. It's okay. You know, then the rest of these are just high end stuff. But like in terms of most of the exotics, like Diamondback tends to be the most popular because of how it looks. Like it's probably the most. Let me see if I can toggle. Let me see if I can. There you go. It's probably the most impressive looking exotic weapon in the game. And it's got its own particular mods. And as you can see, its stats are like pretty ridiculous. Max headshot damage, almost max crit damage, and just about max rifle damage. So it's got it's got a it's worth chasing if you like the single shot rifles. If you like single shot rifles, it's worth chasing, you know. But again, don't go into it thinking that you're going to be able to easily solo that mission. I think I duoed that mission. I think I duoed 2 of the 3. I think I soloed the first, and I duoed the other 2. And duoing the other 2 was rough. Even with the duo, it was rough. So, like, be prepared for a challenge. And as well, like when it comes to dealing with the map. Because again, the map is going to continue to get more and more difficult. Because the world's going to change in tiers. The world's difficulty is going to change. Every time you complete the map, the world tier is going to rise. And the enemies are going to become more and more powerful. Because see, right now, my difficulty on this thing is hard. So we go to global settings. I've reached a point to where now it's not even doing levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, going up to level 30. It's not even giving me that anymore. Now it's saying, are you doing normal, hard, challenging, or heroic? I can't even go back down to the old school levels anymore. I've reached a point in this character to where I am now in, you know, my normal would be way too hard for a beginner character. Even for the setting for me, it'll say normal, but it'll be like level 40. Now, you see how it says level 40 right here? Level 40 hostile, everything's level 40. Everything is level 40. So it's like, but it's saying level 40 on hard. I can put it on normal and it'll still, you know, say like level 40 still for that as well. So it's one of those situations where that's the reason why the loot, all of my loot that's on this character, which I actually need to be putting, I need to be actually going to my build. That's another thing you can do, is you can put in builds. If you hit the L2, you can go to your loadouts and you can literally save all of your loadouts. And be it that I do have, there we go. So now I have my sniper loadout on. And as you can see, I use my mask, that. But for my backpack, I used the Providence for the extra headshot damage. And that's, of course, for the kills from my cover. Makes my cooldowns drop. I really need that.
There's redundancy, but is there enough redundancy?
Then here on my chest piece, I have Perfect Headhunter. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped at 800% of your weapon damage. This is raised to 1250% if your headshot damage is greater than 150%. And again, because I'm a sniper build, and Chain Killer is also, as you can see, unlike the rest of them that have white names on them, Chain Killer is considered a special high-end. So I definitely wanted to make sure I keep that. And if you notice all of those different cores, you see how it says either like red or blue. You got red cores, blue cores, things of that nature. You're going to want to change. You're going to want to, like, that's where the grind comes in. The grind comes in trying to get gear that have the cores you want, so that you, because like you can change them by going over here. To your crafting station. Well, I'm sorry, not the crafting station. Sorry. To the recalibration station. And you can, let's say I wanted to recalibrate this gun right here, right? This rifle. I could change the core attribute. I could change rifle damage. I could change this one. I could change the attributes. I could even change the talent and put a whole different talent on the gun, right? But whatever I change, I can no longer change anything else. So if I change the rifle damage, If I wanted to change something else on this, I couldn't. I could only change the rifle damage. So if I change the rifle damage, I can only change this slot. I can't change any other slot after that. So basically, you would want to grind gear that have all the slots that you want to be done right, except for maybe one. So that way you can just change that one slot and you won't get locked. And, you know, because you're going to get locked out from the other ones. If you change one of these, you're going to get locked out from the rest. And so that's how you would kind of like tweak your gear, you know, depending on what kind of talents you want to be effective or to be active, and if you want, you know, healer cores, like again we can go into our body armor, and like for instance, let's say I wanted to change the chain killer that's on me. I can only change this one. I can't change this core attribute. I can't change that, and I can't change this. I can only change this one because I believe I changed it before already. So I can only change this one. And of course, you can see at the bottom, it's going to take resources and money to do that. And it'll allow me to change that. And the way you would get these stats, if you notice on the side of the screen, you see how I have all these different levels of stats. The way you would get those is you would bring weapons. Let's say you go and you find a weapon that has like a really high stat. You would come here, go to your library, pick a weapon, and it'll show you which attributes are on those weapons, and then you can extract. You see how it says show extractable items? It'll allow you to then extract the it'll allow you to extract. You can even extract talents. You can take talents off of weapons and you'll put them in basically a library. And then once you have them in your library, you can then apply those same stats at those levels to other guns. So the idea is going to be to try and get max stats, max stat rolls of all these different types of guns that you're using. Going back over here to the recalibration library, pulling those stats off and putting them in the library, and then with guns that you actually do want to use, taking those stats and placing them on the guns that you do want to use. That's how you're going to be able to, you know, put yourself in situations where you got guns with stats like this, where just about everything on it is maxed. Stuff like that. Like for instance, like with this gun, or that gun, or like, you know, this ACR, assault rifle, you know. That's how you end up with situations like that. You know, guns with almost maxed out stats. It's because I found guns that had these stats, and I pulled these stats off of those guns. And then when I found a good gun that I really did like, I applied a stat, because you can only do one of the stats. So basically, you're going to hunt a gun that's already got 2 good stats, and then you're going to try to put a 3rd good one on the gun. Things like that, you know. And hopefully it's a good roll on the talent, so you don't have to so much as change the talent, you know. It's a push and pull effect where, you know, you can get quote-unquote best in slots. But it's going to be a situation where you're going to push and pull a lot on having to give in some place, you know, in some place or another. And you see how the aces and eights, I've got the little ace card on my backpack. Pretty cool. I like it. But again, like, let's go outside real quick just so I can show you. Just so I can give you show you a quick look at how certain things will play out. All right. So, okay, you see when I pull out my marksman rifle, you see how there's 5 cards on the bottom? All right.
We could have passed the background check to guard a place like this.
Now, the way you would use your the way you would use your ultimate weapon for your specialization, you know how you would just, you know, you would double tap for your sidearm, but you'll hold the weapon to pull out your sniper rifle, or to pull out whatever it is. Now this is a TAC 50 cal. This is a TAC 50 caliber sniper rifle. This sniper rifle is meant to pierce armor and you know, things of that nature. Ah, this is perfect. All right. All right.
Not even some wraps for
Now, if you notice, everybody's level 40. Gonna. You see how the one card went up to 8? See how the second card came out? It's ace. I got aces and eights, baby. I got aces and eights. Now that I have aces and eights, my next shot, my next 2 shots are gonna be ugly. My next 2 shots are gonna hurt. Alright, so you saw the damage I was doing.
Hostile control point identified.
$4,300,000. That was one shot. That was one shot.
Object of interest detected.
Alright.
Civilians in danger.
Alright. Now my specialty is a drone. I can take the drone, put it somewhere. Now I got wall hacks. I can see that through the wall. And enemy, basically any enemy, I can see that one over there. I can see him.
Civilians in distress.
Okay.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Civilians in danger.
Alright. Now you can see I can see all these people from afar now. Wall hacks, baby. Wall hacks. 3 million.
Show yourself. You know what to do.
Let's not die today. They're coming around the flank.
7 million. $15 million. And again, I also have perks that basically make it to where any enemy that's being tracked by this, 16 million. Any enemy that's being tracked by my drone also takes more damage. So all those different buffs we were just showing, for like headshot damage and all of that, is being amplified by the very fact that this drone is I'm gonna put the drone right there. It's being amplified by the fact that the drone is also tracking them.
Heavily armored hostile detected.
Where did they go? Hitting me? Should be on our side.
Flank the target.
Ooh, he just missed.
Vest is taking hits.
Serious trauma detected.
No targets in range. I'm here to cover you. Get out now! Yeah. Close enough. Go ahead. I'm here.
Enemy captured. Good job.
All right. All right, we got sniper. We got sniper bullets. And you can tell because they'll always be flashing like that. All right. We got sniper bullets. Let's gather up all our bullets. Now, if you remember before, this is a control point we're taking here. like we always do. But we're gonna have to be pretty careful because, again, this is a pretty rough control point that we're taking. Now, if I'm taking this solo, where I am now, we want to make sure we get all of our epic loot before we do what we about to do. All right. Now the goal is I want to make sure that my drone covers as much of the combat area as possible. Because again, my drone we want that drone to cover as much of the combat area as possible. We take a high ground.
En route.
We take high ground. All right, it's time for us to put our sniping skills to the test. Let's go. And my drone can track from far away, so I should be seeing some enemies popping up on the radars pretty soon here. Yep, it's got somebody. See that red line? That red line? Yep, here they are. Here they come. $15 million, god damn. No, I'm on PC. And again, that's the importance of putting together a build that synergizes very well. I've got, like I said, other than a lot of my different headshot modifiers and damage modifiers and crit damage, I've also got modifiers that make scanned enemies take more damage. Alright, it's time to go to Diamondback. There we go. Oh, I do. I got another one. Hit.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
I know. There we go. Alright. Die.
Heavily armored hostiles detected.
And die. Aces and eights is up. Aces and aces up. Enemies are being tracked. Look how far away I'm tracking them too. That's so good. Alright. We just need everybody just stop running. Be still. Give me one good clean one. Give me one good clean one from. Oh yeah. Okay, back up. Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a bitch. Come here. Oh, you son of a bitch. Come here.
Someone cover me.
There we go.
Where are they? Worse, Simon!
Oh. 3 million. All right. Let's go ahead and do some overkill. And pull out this TAC 50, baby. $11 million on one shot. Yeah. All right.
Supply room access unlocked.
And again, let's take a look at what we were doing here. What I was basically using was I was using Diamondback, and the ability for Diamondback whenever it locks onto an enemy. And I usually only use Diamondback for those machines, for the machine dogs, because they have like a very large pool of health. So I like to use Diamondback on them because once it locks onto them, I'm doing guaranteed crit damage to them with each shot. So I like to do that. Then of course with White Death, as you can see, Flatline, the talent amplifies weapon damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. Pulsed enemies are basically any enemy that's tracked
Agent in need of backup.
by the sharpshooters. Any enemy tracked by this is considered pulse. So I got basically, as long as that's out, I basically have a 15% damage buff flat across the board to any enemy that's tracked with this weapon. And that's how I was getting those 15, 16 million headshots with White Death. And then of course, using aces and eights, the aces and eights gear set, that's how I was getting like whenever I get the 4 of a kind, I was mainly getting aces and eights. So I would only get 2 shots with extra damage. That's where it was. That was kicking it up from 10 million to like 15 to like 18 million. It was like it was having Dead Man's Hand while proccing at the same time Flatline from the drone. So I was mixing in buffs coming from different directions, on top of course all the different stats. And that's kind of what you're looking for when you're making a build in this game, is you're looking for how many ways can you draw in damage from different things. Can you draw in damage from your can you draw in damage from your tech? Can you draw in damage from from your weaponry, from your talents? Not just the stats, but can you draw it in from again, like being pulsed, or like you can probably get it to where damage to enemies on fire, stuff like that. And of course you see how when things are when things start coming together, that's when the damage starts ramping up. That's when the damage truly starts ramping up. When you start pulling from different resources, because you can like, okay, I got all high damage on my weapons, and you'll reach a point to where you'll do some decent damage. But if you really want to push into the high millions, you're gonna have to rely on more than just the weapons damage. You're gonna have to find ways to better there we go. You're gonna have to find ways to better fuel the damage pools, and that's with like things coming from your gear sets and the perks and things of that nature. And like again, like for a sniper build, my goal is to remain far away.
What we do without you, Agent?
Far away. And again, I have another gadget, and that gadget is it's my blinder. And the reason why I use the blinder is if I'm caught out on my own and I need some time to breathe, because my goal is to stay as far away from the combat
From the control point in proximity
as possible. That's my goal. My goal is to stay away from the fight. So if I know I'm by myself and I'm gonna deal with enemies coming at me, my goal is gonna be, all right, let me take out my blinder drone and let me throw this and blind everybody real quick, and then get myself in a position to where I can start picking off enemies. At least try to pick off the ones that I know will like. Remember the runners. That's mainly what I use them for, is to blind the runners so I can pick them off before they can come at me and put me in a position to where I can't do what my build excels at, and that's long range damage. But I did kind of want to give you guys a look at what you'll be grinding with and for once you get past the initial story of the game and stuff like that. Once you get past the initial story, you're gonna be grinding to get gear on par with, like, you know, your exotics and specializations and things of that nature, so that you can you see how that's another thing I love about this gun. The one you see Diamondback is tracking that person right there. It's tracking that person, and that's an enemy. I love that about the gun, because it can track through walls. It will track through walls, and because I know that there's enemies back here. And I knew they were here before they knew I was here. And I knew they were here before I even saw them, because of this gun. That's why I love this gun. It is perfect for a sniper because it does that. All right. That's horrible. That's horrible, but that's dope. And you see all those little icons out the bottom there? Those icons are all buffs. And you'll notice, like, there are certain buffs. You see how when I'm up against the wall, like, my buff thing just lights up? Okay, I only got 3. But then once I get up against this wall, all of a sudden 2 other ones just pop up. Because I actually do have buffs that deal with me being in cover. Like, again, this one here kills from cover. So when you see that scorpion tail, that's what that's for. Then when I'm not, you just see the aces and eights perks. You see the aces and eights perks thing, and then you see the pulsating thing there. But then when I'm here, you see the fist, and you see the other one. So the fist, I believe, is what is that? What is that fist? I forgot this gun's got a perk on it too. Oh yeah, this is Prophet. Another high-end pistol. Pretty good pistol. Well, revolver actually. It's killing an enemy with a headshot. The next shot landed on an enemy, no matter where it's at, will be a guaranteed critical headshot. So I can hit them in the chest or in the leg, but it'll count as a critical headshot. So even my pistol's pretty nice. Even the pistol's pretty nice. And of course, with White Death, you can't go wrong. And again, like having Diamondback as a sniper build, is great. Like I said, it allows me to find enemies. So what's that? We got the tip of this. We got tip of the spear. One of the pieces for tip of the spear. Signature weapon damage. Dealing damage with signature weapon increases total weapon damage by 20% for 6 seconds. Automatically generate signature ammo every 60 seconds. This would be for somebody whose playstyle revolves highly around you know, their signature weapon, which again is like, for instance, for the sniper rifle, it is the TAC 50 cal. You know, so whatever your signature weapon is at the White House, that would actually do that. And we're gonna go back to the White House now, so that I can kind of show you, some of the other gear sets and how they kind of interact, or like what their specialties are. All right. I'm gonna put those away. That away too. No, those away. All right. Well, first, let me do this. I'm gonna delete this. All right. Because the only one we need is just our sniper loadout. Because again, I'm creating a character for each one of our loadouts. Alright. So, let's say we wanted to go, if you wanted to do a status build where you just spread fire everywhere on people, or like any kind of status effect, you would be using this. The Eclipse Protocol gear set. 2 pieces give you status effect. 3 pieces will give you skill haste and status protection. 4 pieces, your status effects now spread on kill to all enemies within 10 meters and refresh 50% of the duration. So basically your skill, your fire or your whatever CC you got will last longer, and it'll spread to other enemies when you kill an enemy that has one. Adding that on to something like a backpack skill, like this one here has, you'll notice that like your backpacks will have special talents on them, especially the gear set backpacks. The gear set backpacks will have like, because like if you wear 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, even if it's not the backpack, you're going to get that 4-piece set. The indirect transmission. But let's say one of those 4 pieces is the backpack. You'll get indirect transmission, and you'll get system aggravator, the talent that comes from the backpack itself. Amplifies all damage you deal to status affected enemies by 30%. But it requires, of course, indirect transmission. You know. And like, for instance, body armor. If you've got, where is our, there you go, Eclipse Protocol. On the body armor, we've got proliferation. Increases direct transmission. Again, that is the 4-piece set bonus. Increases the range that it spreads from 10 meters to 15 meters. And increases the refresh percentage from 50 to 75%. So now you're talking about an even larger range of AoE CC and an even longer duration of the CC. So again, you would want, in any build worth its salt, you would want to make sure the backpack and the chest piece are a part of the the 4 pieces that you're gonna wear. You know, if you want to get the full power of the build. Now, after you got the backpack and the chest piece, right? Once you have the backpack and the armor on, you can choose whether you want the knees and the holster or the hands and the mask. You can choose whatever 2 you want for the rest. But like you'll come to realize, okay, I need the chest or I might just need the backpack. I might not need the chest. You know, but in certain situations, you might need both the backpack and the chest. Because if you notice, most of your sets are going to have it to where there won't be talents on these. There won't be talents on the knees, holster, hands, or the mask. There's only going to be talents on the chest and on the backpack. So you can only ever have 2 talents on your actual gear set. And then the rest of your talents will be on the weapons themselves. You see what I mean? So every now and then you're going to come across that. But then for some builds, like for instance this build, for my sniper build, if I look at the body armor for my sniper build, which is the my aces and eights, my chest piece has no limit. Increases dead man's hands bonus damage from 30% to 50%. I could use that, right? I could use that, but I prefer for my build to have this perfect headhunter. Killing an enemy with a headshot makes my next weapon hit within 30 seconds do 150% amount of the damage of the killing blow that I gave. So technically this is actually more DPS at the end of the day. You know, it's not a flat rate, but it's one that can flexibly rise higher than having the vest for the aces and eights. And for the backpack, again, kills from cover reduces my skill cooldowns by 10%. I'm going to be always killing from cover with the sniper rifle and whatnot. So I'm going to always be able to have up my blinding fly, and of course having up my drone so that I can get that 30% damage increase. But if I look at the backpack version of aces and eights, where is it at? Because I'm not actually wearing the backpack aces and eights. I just have it transmog to look like it. The backpack ace in the sleeve, it amplifies 1 extra shot when revealing my hand. So basically, it'll add 1 to each of those different shots you see. 4 of a kind is 4 shots. If I had on the backpack, it would be 5 shots. Full house is 3 shots. If I had the backpack on, it would be 4 shots. So it just gives me an extra shot.
Incoming backup request.
You know, but I'm not necessarily worried about having an extra shot, you know, in those 2. So in those 2, it's not really necessary for me to have those in my build. But again, I do want the aces and eights 4-piece. So that's the reason why we have that. We make sure that, you know, on the spots that we do have what we need, we at least have the aces and eights 4-piece buff. You know, and then we can kind of just wing it from there on what we need and what we want that way. Of course, as you can see right here at the bottom right corner, it says shade level. This is what you're going to start leveling after all of the rest of the stuff is out. You're going to start leveling your offensive skills, like your weapon damage, headshot, crit damage. You'll be able to level your skill duration and repair and all of that. You'll be able to level these in very small increments. Very, very small increments. But you can level these ridiculous amounts of time. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Like, people's shade levels, they get into like the thousands. Like, people have been playing this game for a very, very long time. Well, I don't think there's anybody here. Well, hold on. Okay, no. I think theirs is only, 36. You'll come across people that've got like they've got like 9,000 shade level, or like, you know, 6,000 shade level. Like, a lot of people have been grinding this game out, man. So, like, you know, you'll be able to, like, fine-tune a lot of your stats, a lot of your general stats when you get to that point. Because, like, once you get past the main story, your whole goal is going to be creating builds to actually do the extremely hard content in the game. And again, you're going to more than likely find yourself wanting to, you know, if you're going to be solo, you're going to find yourself truly having to work for min-maxing and making sure you get the most out of all of your DPS and everything like that, because, again, enemies can start taking damage. If you notice, when I was shooting those dogs, each one of my hits was doing 1 million, 1 million, 1 million 5, 1 million 5, and it was taking about a good 10 shots to kill the dogs. You know, there's faster ways to kill the dogs, but at least with my sniper build, it takes me a minute to take care of those dogs. But you saw how those mechanical dogs, like, they had about 10 million health, if not more than likely more. You know, so, and that's on hard. This is not me doing it again. This is just on a hard mode. I could go over here to the global settings, and I could change this, because I'm on hard. I could change this to challenging, and then go straight into heroic, and like make the game very, very difficult. Because again, like, that was a regular control point I just did. All I did was went over here and took this control point. All that crazy action was just coming over here and taking the control point. That's all it was. You know, a solo control point that, you know, by the time you were watching this video, you've probably taken that control point maybe once or twice, maybe even 3 times, multiple times before that. Not even a problem, for real, right? When you start getting up into the level 30 plus, like, to 40, and you start trying to solo this stuff at this level, yeah, man. Especially if you, like, hard is probably where I say you would stick yourself. You might want to stick yourself on hard, because anything beyond hard, like, if you're going to go to challenging, you're not going to want to play the game by yourself. You're going to want to have somebody else with you. You're going to want a duo. If you're playing the game on challenging and you're soloing, you're truly trying to push the extent of your build and what you can do. And when it comes to heroic, full squad, man. Just get a full squad. Unless you just want to, like, bite your, you know, if you just want to pull your hair out with frustration. You know what I mean? Because again, the amount of damage that the enemies will do to you will get to a point to where one grenade, instant down. You know, it won't even be a situation where you'll get hit and you're like, oh man, you know, I gotta get behind cover and heal real quick. Nah, it'll be straight up, boom, you're down on the ground now, and somebody gotta heal you. Somebody gotta come get you, you know? So it's like, it's a situation where you wanna like change the difficulty based on, you know, what crew you got with you. And if you're going solo, I would say hard is where you might want to peak at least in terms of difficulty and rewards, because, like, that's where the equilibrium lies, where it's hard enough to be a decently fun challenge, but not so hard to the point to where you're slogging trying to get rewards. So you'll get really good rewards on hard mode in relative to the challenge itself that it presents. But, like, when you get to the point to where it's like, okay, the enemies are like each enemy is taking like 10 minutes to kill, you know, and you're having to blow through like millions of just armor before you even get to their health, and, you know, you're going through this and it's taking you 40 minutes to an hour just to, you know, take on one main mission, and you keep dying over and over again. At that point, the loot doesn't matter, because you're not able to get through and get to the boss and kill the boss for the loot. You know, so it's like, hard mode is where I find that equilibrium between difficulty and the amount of rewards that you can get. So I would say stick to hard mode once you get past the main objectives in the game and you're being given the ability to truly select your difficulty level. I would say stick to hard if you're solo. Go to challenging if you're with a person who knows what they're doing and you got a good teammate. You can then go to challenging difficulty, but make sure one of you at least has got some kind of healing that y'all can do together, like team healing and things of that nature. But like hard is like pretty decent for what it is, especially for solo. It's pretty decent. Because if you can't do hard mode solo, then you might need to look back at your build and see where things are going. I'll admit, going into challenging solo, I can't always just say, okay, your build is probably what sucks. Because again, once you hit challenging, the spike in difficulty from hard to challenging is very, very noticeable. It's very, very noticeable. So it's like, hard is where I've been able to see it's doable with a very solid build and knowledge of the game and what you're doing. Hard mode, hard difficulty solo is doable, but challenging, I've done challenging solo and I've completed certain things in challenging solo, and it can be frustrating, especially on certain levels. It can be very frustrating. Like, if you're at this point in the game where you're seeing these symbols, these black tusk symbols, if you're seeing these, that means you've beaten the first part of the campaign, and you'll know about the Capitol building. The Capitol building on challenging is, I don't think I've done this on heroic. But I've done this on challenging. The Capitol building mission on challenging, it just getting to the building, because you gotta remember, if you remember the way this mission plays, there's a point where the first 10 to 20 minutes of the level is you getting to the building itself before you even actually start going inside. Just that part alone, you'll die repeatedly just trying to get into the building. Like, the Capitol building on higher difficulty levels is truly a test of skill, and if not skill, patience. You know what I mean? Like that shit's rough. Like, we've done that. I think me and Snake have done that duo on challenging, and we have had to pull out all kinds of tactical strategies and call outs, and we're having to figure out where should we set down heals, which enemies need to be we're having to do not spreadsheets, but we're having to map out how we're going to take out each pocket of enemies, just getting up to, we're having to actually take it slow and slowly inch our way forward like a real battlefield almost, gathering feet toward the Capitol, because it is definitely a big jump in difficulty, man. Like, the damage the enemies do and the amount of damage they can take skyrockets. And it's one of those situations where when you're solo, it's just not worth it. It's not worth doing that on challenging solo. Because again, it can be done. Now, heroic, I don't even know why you would put yourself through that. I don't even know why you would put yourself through that. I don't know why you would put yourself through that. That's that's like sticking your balls in a blender. I don't know how you would do that. Instead, but again, challenging, it can be done, but you're gonna spend way more time getting loot that's of the same value. Because it's not like, because you're playing on a harder difficulty, you're gonna get better loot. It just ups the chance that you might get better drops. It just ups the chance that you might get good drops. but the drops themselves don't change in their rarity because of that. You see what I mean? You know, a high-end FAMAS assault rifle at level 40 is going to basically look the same whether you get it on, whether it drops on hard or whether it drops on heroic. It's going to have the same stats, you know. So why not farm the shit on hard where it's doable on your own, you know, in a reasonable amount of time, and you can farm it multiple times and get that FAMAS, then trying to do it on challenging just so that you can get maybe like a 0.001% better drop rate, but you end up pulling your hair out because you're dying to shit that you know is like, that's fucked up. I wouldn't die to that in hard or on normal, you know. And so it's one of those situations where I would say stick to hard mode and stay there. You know, that's the true in-game hard mode. Now, if you want to, again, challenge mode, that's for when you're with your team, you know. And again, if you really want to play something that's difficult as hell and you really want to test you and your team, go to the Capitol building, Stronghold, on heroic. Do that shit on heroic with your team, and that's how you build team. That's how you can build a team synergy for real, you know. Because you'll need it. Because that stage will literally demand that you do it, that you have really good team synergies. And these other strongholds, they're no joke either. But it's this one. It's the Capitol building that truly does, like, it pushes the limits of what you're capable of tolerating in this game when it comes to like deaths and the things that the enemies can do, because they can, like Black Tusk, which is the in-game faction. You know, they're like the most dangerous of all the factions. They can do things that other factions can't. They can turn off your gadgets. They got gadgets of their own. You saw them big ass dogs that just run around moving. They're like basically moving Gatling guns and grenade launchers and whatnot. They've got a drone. If you remember watching, I think it was my stream before my last one. Me and Snake were just running around and we got attacked by a giant drone and from the sky. That's all Black Tusk tech. You know, these guys, they got monstrous tech. So like, you're gonna come across some really rough shit out there in the open, man. And again, there's no need to punish yourself trying to do it on, you know, challenging and heroic when you're solo, man. Just jump on hard. It'll give you a good challenge, you know. It will give you that feeling where you know you gotta hide, you know you gotta make sure you're healing, you know you gotta make sure, you know, you will have to use your armor kits, you know. Like, it'll give you the adrenaline rush of, oh man, I might die doing this, while at the same time not being completely, you know, unfair with how much damage is being dumped on you at one time, you know. But and the reason why I've made such a big deal about that part of the discussion here is because you're gonna smack into that wall and the game might feel frustrating, because you might feel like, man, I can't go any further than this without the game just being cheap and killing me. Once you've reached the point in the story where you completed all the story, and now the game is just repeatedly taking, because see, now the game is doing this thing where it's a dynamic takeover, where you notice how, like, when I logged into this character, I hadn't logged into my main sniper character for months, but you saw how I logged in, it immediately said this control point got took over, or this control point got took over. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna keep doing that. It's gonna keep taking over areas. The Black Tusk is gonna keep taking over areas, and I'm gonna have to keep going back and taking them back, doing main missions and stuff like that to take them back. So it's gonna basically be a dynamic thing where the world's constantly being taken back over, and you're gonna have to constantly keep taking stuff back. So the end game is basically grinding, and it's not based on the difficulty of the grind. That's not your end game. Your end game is just going to be the grind itself. So why put yourself on a higher difficulty when the rewards themselves aren't going to change based on that? Do you know what I mean? So I just really want people to know that, because again, that could really turn you off from the game if you hit that roadblock where you're like, all right, I did everything on normal, but the game is telling me I can bump it up to hard and get more rewards. You get a higher chance for good rewards. It doesn't mean that the rewards themselves are better, you know. And so once you hit hard and you're doing that, you're like, okay, yeah, the game's getting challenging now, and okay, but you know, I want to get even better rewards. Let me go to challenging difficulty. Don't do that, because the rewards aren't going to change. It's just going to become exponentially harder to achieve them, you know. And so, yeah, I just don't want people to get stuck on that roadblock, because the game can be very fun. And I won't sugarcoat it. Ubisoft have in some ways, you know, done like a semi-poor job in keeping the game fresh. A lot of this content is in and out, you know, like the manhunts have been reused multiple times. Like, you know, hunting down these people and whatnot. You know, each manhunt is different, but they've reused manhunts multiple times. These here, they usually unlock every so often. Like right now, the Kinley College isn't unlocked. It'll be next available at an unannounced time. So, you know, you won't know when some of these are unlocked. The summit is probably where your best bet will be when it comes to trying to get the gear sets. When you're trying to get these types of gear sets, with the special gear sets, your best bet is going to be to hit.
Agent requesting backup.
Is to hit the summit up, and the summit is like 100 floors, and your whole goal is to just push up to 100. Like, I've made it to 61. The last time I played, I got to level 61. What's cool about this is, if you notice at the bottom of the screen, it says select targeted loot. You can select what kind of loot drops for you. You can actually select what kind of loot drops in the world. Well, in the summit. So let's say you want aces and eights. You can select this, and it won't just drop aces and eights, but you will get a vastly higher chance of aces and eights dropping for you in the summit. And the summit is something you can just keep grinding over and over and over again. The same thing with any like gear piece. Like if you want let's say you want a mask. You know, there is an exotic mask called the Vial mask. You would put that on, and then you would just keep hunting for the Vial mask. And I'm looking for that Vial mask because I want it for my status effect build. So I would basically be running the summit as my main grind spot.
Has to be our number one priority.
You know. And then of course you can do other things to grind. Like some people go to the dark zones and grind. I'm not really into PvP in this game too much just yet, so I don't really do dark zone stuff. But again, Summit is a place for PvEers to go and grind. You can grind with your friends as well. It can even show the targeted loot. And you see how the icon says mask. And if I were to change that to aces and eights, and I go back to that, I didn't mean to leave out like that. And I go to, and I press up for the targeted loot, it'll show aces and eights. And as long as I have one selected, whenever I go in, it'll target that loot for me. And it's a way better way than trying to go out here in the open and target loot. cause out here you can hit the up button out here and you see how the icons change, and the icons will tell you where in the world stuff is dropping. So like, you want gloves are dropping all in this area. So when you do, let's say you're doing these missions, or if you do these resource convoys, or if you do these control points or anything like that, or if you're doing any of these like little side missions and stuff like that, you're likely to get glove drops. Or like if you come over here, what's that one saying? What's that? Ongoing directive. That's one of the gear sets. But that's for the Stronghold Tidal Basin, which is another really rough one on a high difficulty. And you see where it says next invasion? That means in 1 day, 3 hours, and 58 minutes, Black Tusk is going to invade this area again. But of course, we've also got the Wyvernware icon. So anything you do here, like these here, any of this stuff here, even this here, you know, you'll get Wyvernware outfits. And again, those are like the regular gear sets, not the ones that have the 4-piece, but those are usually the 3-piece ones, like the normal ones you see. Or like over here, tip of the spear, you'll get those here, body armor here, and you won't see these icons until, like I said, until you've beaten the main campaign of the game, and you're now in that rotation where every day or two, or every day or so, the Black Tusk keeps taking over for you to regrind stuff. And as you can see at the bottom, it says loot allocation updates, and it'll basically every 3 or 4 hours, all of these different icons, like the aces and eights over here, the hardwire and rigger stuff over here, all of these will then shuffle around. So at one point, while gloves are here, gloves might be over here next time, you know, things like that. So, you know, there's a reason why they make you wait until like level 30 before you even get your specialization. And it's because what the game's throwing at you at the beginning of the game, it really isn't necessary for you to have specialization equipment. But once the Black Tusk arrive, you need something to combat that shit. And so I can see why they kind of waited until you reach the end of the first part of the campaign before you start. No, at least you can get it before you go to New York. But they make sure that, you know, you spend your first 30 levels getting accustomed to what you'll be doing for most of your gameplay. And again, this game is probably best with people, with friends. You can play this solo if you're really into like the tactical shooter stuff. You can play this solo for a good amount of time. But I think this game's true shining or true saving grace, and where it truly shines, is when you're playing with friends, because that tactical group setting can be pretty addicting to the point to where you can lose hours just running hard, difficult missions and trying to come up with awesome synergies and stuff like that, and just coming up with cool things you can do, like using a heal drone to heal somebody else's drone, or, you know, using, you know, a heal drone to heal somebody else's like a hive, or, you know, being able to do like this cool mixtures of stuff that can like really impact, you know, the way a fight can go. And so it's pretty dope, man. And again, like I said, the game can be fun on its own, but it really shines with people. And I just wanted to kind of get the specializations part out of the way, and kind of like show people kind of like what this map is going to look like, because you can also go to New York. Like, once you've completed the New York campaign, right? Once you've completed New York campaign, you can just straight up click on this and travel to the New York map. And like we can And of course, New York's map is over here. Well, I can't see all the special stuff because I'm not technically over here. But the New York map is a little bit, it's a little smaller. It's like half the size of DC in terms of its sheer volume. But map's pretty big when you're on foot by yourself, basically, you know. And so, like, you know, you can bounce back and forth in between the two, you know. And you'll be seeing all of these extra icons, like the different control points and stuff. You'll see those over there once you're actually in that map. And I don't know, hopefully they make another expansion where they do another part of the US. Because again, when you're in New York, you're chasing somebody else. So like, this is DC is like the main game, and then of course New York is like the expansion of the game. So, you know, once you complete the main game, there's way more to it after that. Because again, the world significantly changes based on not so much as the look of the game or the areas and how they look, but the enemies you encounter, the amount of gadgets and powers that they possess, or the amount of gadgets and tools they possess, and the amount of damage they can take and the amount of damage they can deal. Like, just the overall lethality of the world begins to climb up. Because again, this is after you've gone through World Tier 1, World Tier 2, World Tier 3. Because you're going to have to do this like 3 or 4 times. Because like, once you beat it the main time, Black Tusk's going to take over, and it's going to be World Tier 1. You're going to do it again, it's going to go up to World Tier 2. You're going to do it again, it's going to go to World Tier 3. You're going to do it again, it's going to go to World Tier 4. And if you remember me showing you, I have a character now I think I can probably show you. Let's go to a character that I'm mid-world tier in. So you can kind of see the difference. He's like you saw on that character, on this character here, I have all level 40 gear.
Safe area entered.
Now, if you notice here, you see where my thing says level and it has 3. I am now in World Tier 3 of the game, and you see where it says World Tier 3, 350 to 400. That's basically saying that the gear score, you see my gear score right now? If you see all my weapons are saying gear score 300 and something. Once I hit World Tier 4, then 5, it's gonna go from world tiers to just level 40, period. And then I'll just be level 40 and have level 40 stuff. And right now I am on the demolitionist. Right now I'm trying to try out my explosive expert build. And again, I have all the pieces necessary for the build, but of course they're level 40, so I can't wear them yet. You know, I got armor pieces for days, but they're all level 40, so I can't wear them yet. You know, but I did just want to let you guys, get you guys in to take a look at, you know, what the specializations are, what they do, and how they expand your gameplay. One more thing I'm gonna do before I leave is tell you this. This is another reason why you want to be specific with what kind of guns you're gonna use for your builds, because each class, each specialization allows you to put 3 points into leveling up the damage from any of these different types of guns, like shotguns, light machine, assault, and you can level each one 3 times. But you can only get 3 of these. You can only choose 3 of these. So it's one of those situations where you're going to want to figure out what kind of weapon build you're going to have for a particular class. And then you're going to focus those points on that to get as much damage as you can out of it. Because once you get everything else, you're only going to have enough to get 3 of these maxed. You know. And mainly, like for instance, if you're going to get this, which is your special sidearm, like each class has one. Like if we look over here, this class has the Maxim 9 as a sidearm. The Gunner has the P320 X Compact. The Firewall has the double barrel sawed-off. The Survivalist has the Desert Eagle 50 caliber. The Sharpshooter has the Sharpshooter's 93R. If you're going to pick this up, like I don't have this on my build, on my sniper build. I don't use this weapon, so I don't have these. But if you're going to pick this up, you're going to automatically want to max this out as well, because this is a sidearm. This is a sidearm, so you're going to want to, you know, max this out as well. But if you're not, there's 3 points you don't have to worry about, and then there are of course points for the actual gun itself. But beyond that, guys, you basically now learned all you need for the gist of just getting into the game. Everything else is going to be mainly about you just experimenting.
Take a look at what I
You know,
got for you.
Experimenting with, you know, what kind of talents, you know, work well with what, you know, how do you enjoy playing the game? Do you enjoy more of a stealth, long range style, or do you enjoy explosions more? Do you like spreading all kinds of, you know, toxic, you know, like plagues around everywhere? Do you enjoy gizmos and gadgets a lot more? It'll depend on what you like to do most in combat, and it'll also depend on, you know, what kind of synergies you can find that, you know, that play well with that. Because at this point, the builds are all up to you. There are meta builds. There are quote unquote best builds. But like I like to say, if the build gets you through the content, then there is no such thing as a wrong build. There are just good and bad builds. If the build can get you through the content, even if it's nowhere near meta in any way, but it's something you enjoy, go for it. If you want to look online for builds, cool. Go for it. Whatever helps you enjoy the game, go for it. But again, just make sure that, you know, it's something you're enjoying, and don't pigeonhole yourself into a build that you feel like you have to play, you know, unless you're trying to play at like a super ridiculously high competent level. You know, because then at that point you're trying to, you know, you're taking the fun out, and you're trying to instead put in some professional analytical approach to the game, which is fine if that's what you want to do. You know, but if not, and you just want to have some good old fun shooting stuff, yeah, man, you know, get in there, grab, you know, hit the summit up, make sure you target the stuff you want. And if you notice, like, I don't have any of them icons here right now. I don't have any of them icons right here right now. All them icons that were up here, I ain't got none of that. I ain't got none of that, because I haven't done none of the story to get to all that stuff yet. But, you know, once you get through the story and you get everything set up, you know, jump into the summit, grab you gear sets, get them gear sets, try them out, see what you like, see what really tickles your fancy, and get out there and keep DC and New York safe. You want to be an agent, now go out there and be one. Amon-Rellik the God Slayer, Amon-Rellik Gaming. I'm out of here.